Good morning, good afternoon. This is what we got today. This is a 1994 Ford Explorer. It's the Eddie Bauer. But it is a two-wheel drive Eddie Bauer. And what we have is the rear brakes are completely gone. We're gonna have to do drums, shoes, all the hardware kit, new axle seal, and new wheel cylinders. So it's going to be a very involved job, and it's not going to be real cheap either. But we still have to come back later, do the front brakes. They're fairly thin, and the rotors may have to be replaced on it. Maybe we'll have to do some measuring and see if they're okay. And then the master cylinder under the hood may have to be replaced as well. First, we got to get all these other problems worked out, with the back being the absolute worst. So let's get to it. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is put this thing up on jack stands. All right, so if you're like me and you forgot to break your lug nuts loose when it was still on the ground, this is what you got. Well, you could just use an impact gun if you got an air compressor, buzz them off. But I do have one, but I'm not going to use it because it just takes too much time to bring it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the emergency brake. Depending on where you live, you might call it an e-brake. That's going to hold my wheel still. Then I break them loose, just like that. So you got a drum that doesn't want to come off. A lot of times they'll rust themselves in right here. Now I'm getting rid of these drums. We got brand new drums to put on them. But what if you're not getting rid of your drums? You need to know how to get them off. A lot of times, just a regular hammer, tap on them while you're pulling on it. A lot of times you gotta break it loose. Now, this, well, and you know, the parts are not inside the drum, so it's been off before. You see the dampness up here? That's coming from leaky wheel cylinders, and you can't see it, but down here the axle seal is doing a little bit of leaking too. Just starting, so we're catching it pretty early. We're replacing all the hardware because that's pretty cheap stuff. That's just a few dollars. But this is missing everything from here all the way to here. Yeah. All right, back to the passenger side. See, we got cracks. This top one, the back one's getting ready to let loose. This one broken off at the bottom edges. That's pretty nasty. Alright then. Now it's time we're going to take this cover off. And that's nothing more than just these 1/2-inch bolts all the way around it. Drain it into a pan. It's getting ready to be a mess, but like I say, there ain't nothing to it. It's just very messy. Alright, so now we've loosened all the bolts. We're just going to take a screwdriver, put it down here on the bottom. This thing's been silicone pretty good. But there it goes. Don't lose that tag. It's got all the information about the differential. So don't lose it. But then we can just remove it, and there is all of our differential gears. put it in neutral. Now if you don't put it in neutral, it won't turn. The drive. What we're looking for, right there, this bolt right here. This is a bolt that goes through this pin right here. So now let me go find the right size wrench to fit that. Okay, on a side note, make sure you keep something to keep all your nuts and bolts in. You don't want them getting all kicked around and lost. Alright, this is looking more like 8mm. Now some of these you have to use a box end wrench, but this one I can get a little 1/4 inch ratchet on. Take this little screw out. Now this is fairly long. I'm going to show you. Alright, so it's fairly long because it goes through that pin. And that pin is what's got to come out next. But the way it is, it won't fall out just yet, but it will fall out on its own weight. What we got to do is turn it to where when it does, it just misses here, because we need to get to these those spider gears. So just hold it in place. Yeah. Alright. So, alright, here's the pin. It just comes out. We're going to set the pin over here too, because we're going to have to clean it and put it back in. So now, watch. So now we just push that in. Once that's pushed in, right here on the end is a C-clip. And the other side, you just reach in, pull the C-clip out of the axle. This is what holds the axle in. And then it'll just push back out. The axles are loose, and we can just pull them out. Just like that. Alright, to get the old seal out, they make a tool for it. I've got one, used to have one, don't know where it's at. So on some of these, like this one, I can use a claw hammer. Just put it in here. Just like that. Make sure you get your claw. When you put it in there, make sure the claw sets somewhere close to that. You don't want it to skin this up in here. Alright, here's the new seal. I've already checked it for size, compared it to the old. It's the right one. Slid it over the axle and it fits there. We're going to go ahead and put it on. Now the red coating that's around this is a sealant. So you shouldn't have to put anything on it. Some people do. Some people like to put something on it. I don't. Now this is a seal. This is a tool for doing bearing races, and when you flip it over the other direction, it's great for seals. Just like this. If you don't have one, you ought to get one. You can do this with an oversized socket. I do not recommend that. Seats it right into place. This here is a very handy little tool for the springs. This one does these hold down springs right here, and this one will do all the other springs. So, the way this works, that side right here, let's see, you just put it over the stud and then twist this part right here underneath it, just like that. And the spring comes right off. And we're putting brand new spring set in this, but don't forget where these go. And this one, need to get these off now. So we switch to this one. Just put it around. Now you have to, on the back side back here, you'll have to hold the pin that's in the middle. And that comes off just like that. So hold the pin on the back, put this over the spring, and twist. And when it lines up right, it just pops right off. Just like that. So, I'm going to pull this out. And this can come across. The spring comes off. And everything will fall apart right there. Do not lose. There is a little washer right here. Do not lose that. Make sure that this turns free. We got to clean this up and reuse this. Don't forget where this piece here went right there. And that little cable will be easy to lose if you're not careful. Make sure you put it somewhere you're not going to knock it off and lose it. We're going to pull this off because we're going to do some cleaning here. We've got to take this off too. These little pins, we'll take them off. We should have those in the spring kit. Now on Fords, they've got this goofy little clip right here. Now, some years ago, I bought this goofy little tool from Snap-on. I don't advise anybody buying this, but as you can see, it is just get it in the middle of the screen. It is just meant to spread this clip. Now there's other ways to do it that doesn't include buying a tool off a Snap-on truck, but this is supposed to spread the clip. As you see, it does not do a very good job of it. But it does it. Try not to lose that. I'm not sure if it comes in the clip. Try not to lose that either. That little washer. Then you should just be able to push it and it comes off. Now we have to take this off. Alright, first thing we're going to do, this is the bleeder screw. We're going to break it loose first. Now you're going to have to re-bleed the brakes when you do this. We're going to get rid of the bleeder screw first so that we got room for the wrench on the line. Now, these are line wrenches. You pick them up at Harbor Freight. If you hadn't noticed, Harbor Freight's one of my favorite places to shop because tools are cheap. But don't do this without a line wrench. You'll strip these things off, and you don't want to do that. Okay, now take the ratchet, break the bolts loose, then all you do is just pull it out. Alright, I'm going to try to put this back in as quickly as I possibly can so I don't lose more fluid than I have to. So, I'm going to take the bleeder screw out. I'm going to go ahead and I think it will be a lot easier to start the threads on the brake line before I put the bolts in it. Now let's put the bolts back in it. Then we will tighten the bolts up. Now the line is tightened back up. Alright, I took the opportunity to wash all this up. I just used soap and water, plugged a hole with a rag, and used soap and water to clean up all the crud. These places like this. This is where the brake shoes are actually going to be touching the metal here. So what we need to do is we're going to use this, which is a brake part lubricant. Yeah. And we're just going to put a little grease right here on all these places. Don't have to be much, just a little bit. It's like right here on the emergency brake arm. We're going to put a little bit here. Alright, I like to sort of lay everything out so I can see what I got. So you'll have all the springs. All these springs right here are for this side, and what I left in the bag is for the other side. So there are duplicates times 2 to everything that's here, except for, of course, these hard parts, these pieces right here, and of course that. But all the springs, the blue, the yellow, the red, these 2 silver springs, the pins, even the little rubber stopper plug that goes right here, as well as a new little clip right there. And here are my brake shoes. And of course, anytime you use brake shoes, you've got a long pad or a long shoe and a short shoe. So you can see the difference when you hold them up to each other. There, and the back side. The big one always goes on the back. So now we're ready to start putting it together. Alright, we're going to focus on the big one first. It sits right here, and it's going to be touching here, here, and here. And there'll be two places right here to touch. So we're going to put just a little bit of grease on these 3 spots, or 4 spots. The solution: small rat tail file. And just hollowed it out just a little bit. Going by the micrometer, it was almost too close to call. But now fits right in place. I can take this little clip and it will slide over. Then we gotta crimp it. Get it out here around. Just like that. Now, right here, back you up a little bit. Right here, goes right there. There's my phone. Whoever it is will wait. Now we take these 2 here. Now, there's a flat end right here. So what the idea is, that flat end has got to slide through the flat end of this here. So if you turn that flat where it's up, put this here, use this here, you can put it on, twist it, and there it is. Just like that. Alright. So the cable goes up here first. We'll take the yellow spring. Oh, wait a minute, we are getting ahead of ourselves. This piece, don't forget that. It goes up there. Then the cable attaches. This piece goes over here, and the yellow spring hooks in it just like that. This, I'm going to use that end under it. Just like that. You need to readjust this so that the spring's not touching it. Then we can hook it there and down here, just like that. Just, yeah. See how well that fits now? Yeah, that'll work great. Alright. Now, it goes this way. We're going to put, I stuck a little bit of extra grease up here. I'm going to put a little grease right here in the fork and up here on this end as well. Just like that. Set this right in there like that. So, using the pen again. Put it through. There. 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 And there. There. Well, that one got it. Try it again. Just like that. Simple. And then this blue spring that I thought was all wrong, it goes here and it will hook into here. Now this is the one that's going to be tough. So here's what I usually do. I leave this out. I pull the two together until I can get it to hook. Like that. And then as long as this is turned all the way in, you should be able to pull them apart. There. Alright, now you just got to get this back up in there. We use this here because we got it handy, but it's not a screwdriver, it's something else. There. Now this cable wraps around here. There it is, all assembled back together. Now I can put the axle back in. Now the only reason that I didn't put the axle in to start with, number one, because we did the axle seal, so we had to pull the axle out. Number two, I decided to leave it out till I got these brakes on because it just makes it easier and you can see what I'm doing a lot better. But now the axle can go back in. The axle will slide in, wiggle it around, and push it all the way in. Alright, now the ring gear, pinion gear anyway, the spider gears is what they're called. You will push them out. Let me show you what one of them looks like here. See, it's just a smooth surface that will slide over the splines of the axle and fall into place here. Then you push it all the way in. You take the C-clip here, you drop it over in the groove on the axle, and then you push it right back out. And the other side will do the same thing. These spider gears, now they have to go in directly opposite each other. Okay? So, what we'll have to do place one in the top. You can spin it all the way around. Just like that. Now, and it's not right. It's off by about a tooth. Try that. You feel at the top, you feel down here, you'll feel it ain't right. You see that one. That's still got to go good ways. Now it feels right. Now, if it's right, this will go right between them. Make sure you've got the hole end on the bottom where your pin goes. Push your axles all the way out. Hey, there it goes. And it's in. So now you take the pin and you put it back in here. And you tighten it down. Alright, a couple tips for the day. Number one, don't leave your chrome plated socket set sitting out in the sun. They get very hot. Number two, put it in park so that the differential doesn't turn. And this pin does not have to be super tight. You just need it to stay in here and hold this big pin through the center in place. That's all it's got to do. Now we're ready to clean this surface up and put the pan cover back on. Alright, the gasket surface is all cleaned off here. Oh! And differential cover is all cleaned up. All we're doing is putting the pan on here, no gasket, just silicone, and just make sure they're all snugged up. Just don't strip them out. As tight as you want to go, as long as you don't strip them out. There's no gasket to have to worry about crushing. Alright, there's no real good way for me to show this to you except the feel plug is right here. And there's no real good way to get to it. Except like this. I don't think it's focusing, but anyway. This is the plug. Just a 1/4 inch or a 3/8 square hole. So now we fill that up until the fluid falls out. Well, here's the way this is going to work. We're going to use a pump, and it's going to pump straight in to the differential And we're just going to keep pumping until it starts running. When it's full, it'll start running out right here, and it'll start pouring out right there if you don't do something. Alright, you'll have to take my word for it. It did fill up, start running out. Then I put the plug back in it and tightened it up. Let me show you what I used to put it in with. This is the pump I used. It's a little big, so I had to cut the neck off of one bottle. And it keeps leaving half a tube down in the bottle. But you just use that to pump it straight out of the bottle, straight into the differential. And I used 80-90 Valvoline. Took 3 quarts of it. It's time to put the brake drums on and adjust the brakes to the drum. So, it's pretty straightforward. First we're going to spread the brake drums out just a little bit with the adjuster right here on the bottom. Let's see. You get a little bit of slop to it. It's not. It could be a little better than that. I'm just able to barely hear it. Still got a little bit of drag there. That's pretty good right there. Feel it going on real good. And I just found a where's he at? Can you see him right there? Praying mantis crawling on the frame. Yeah. Not a real big fan of praying mantises. Alright, you need to know I did bleed the brakes. Got in too big of a hurry and forgot to film that part. But I think we all know how to bleed brakes. Pretty simple. So now it's time to put the wheels and tires back on it and take it for a drive. Alright, we're going to top the fluid off. Oops, too much. And then we'll take it for a ride. Well, since I've done that little job, that was a big job. And this video is very long, I know it is, I'm sorry about that. But there's a lot of content there. But since I've done that job, that was back in, I don't know, it was several months ago. Anyway, it was nice, warm. We were still mowing grass. Well, since then, winter has struck. Here we are, late December, almost Christmas. Let me tell you what happened with that truck. As you see, it's still sitting back there. It's been driven. Yeah, they drive it every now and then. But when they took off with it, the very first trip out with that truck, they were heading to Chattanooga, and the master cylinder went out about 50 miles down the road. I had to go do that on the side of the road, change that out, so we didn't film that. Front brakes still need to be done, but he's a truck driver, so he's only in town once every other week, and that's about all they drive it, is just one day every 2 weeks. So we hadn't got around to doing that just yet. I said that we bled the brakes, and everybody probably knows how to do the bleed brakes. Well, I know that's not true. And one day soon I'm going to do a video on bleeding brakes. Yeah, there's probably a lot of other things that I said there that didn't make any sense. But anyway, I hope this helps you out. This was an involved job, but it's still just nuts and bolts. You do everything I just done there on that, and if I can do it, you can do it too. We'll see you next time. We got some good stuff coming up. on the Corvette. Oh, we got some Christmas presents in early for it. But it'll be January before we actually get to do any of it. And I'm going to take it over to a buddy's garage and do those. Anyway, see you next time. And Lord willing, it won't be so long between videos this time.